Hey there, Sandy from sandybowie.com. Now listen, let's talk about the fear of being visible this week and how, well, actually I'm going to share with you how I got over it, because this was a big thing for me. Like, it's a big thing for us as female entrepreneurs, and anyone that doesn't have a fear of being visible doesn't actually understand what it's like. And that's what I found out when I worked with a very specific coach who wanted to get me, who advertised herself as getting me to six figures. But she didn't get it at all. She had no concerns about being visible, about meeting people and telling people what she did, and she didn't understand how I wasn't able to do the same. She didn't understand why I wasn't taking action. And to be honest, the entire time we worked together, I didn't feel that she wanted to listen to that either. So I don't know if you've experienced the same. Having a fear of being visible just seems a bit weird to people who don't actually have it. But those of us who do have it, who do suffer from it, it's like an extreme lack of confidence and insecurities that are so strong we don't actually want to be seen by other people. We want to hide. It's absolutely no joke at all. It's pretty serious and it's real as well. So my coach was telling me to go to networking events and meet up with women and talk to them about my business and what I did. And the truth is, I actually went to some networking events because I wanted to do the things to grow my business. But I became so insecure, in particular at one of these events, that I actually hid in the bathroom. I just didn't want to talk to people. Everyone just seemed to have their act together and they knew what they were doing, and I felt completely intimidated by all of that. I just had to get out of there, and I never went back to another networking meeting after that. And another big thing that my coach wanted me to do, she wanted me to write out and contact all of the people that I knew, both personally and professionally in the consulting world that I used to work in. And she wanted me to tell them what I was doing now and invite them to work with me, or ask if they knew people that would be interested in my services. And the truth is, this is exactly how I felt. Absolutely no way was I doing that. I didn't want to tell any of those people what I was doing. And to be honest, for the majority of them, I still really don't want them to know. It's none of their business. They're not even clients. I don't always like people knowing my business. Is that something that you can relate to as well? I'm a really private person. I don't like people knowing my business. I don't like people knowing what I'm doing. I just keep myself to myself. That's kind of how I live my life, and I probably picked that up. It was programming that I learned from my mum, because that's what she was like. She kept herself to herself, and our business was our business, and other people didn't we didn't share it with other people. So I was the sort of person that I had a Facebook account, but I very rarely updated my personal profile, because to me, my private life is actually private. So occasionally I would post the odd photo of my granddaughter, but that was more a way of sort of sharing these photos with my family, and particularly my sister, rather than my friends. So that sort of hindered me a lot of my business. It's no surprise, is it, that I wasn't making a lot of money, because with that level of fear about being visible, about being seen, I was the opposite. I just wanted to hide and keep myself to myself. I didn't do a lot of marketing because I was so scared to do it. So obviously I wasn't making a lot of money in my business. And I personally had to do a lot of inner work. That was my journey. It was the inner work that I had to do. It was the mindset work to get me to the place where I could change this behaviour. And if this is something that you suffer from, I totally get you. I know what it's like to be that person that's so private, that doesn't want people to find out about them, doesn't want people to know things, doesn't want people to know about anything they're doing, even stuff that happened in the past. You don't want people knowing about that either. And so I wanted to do this video today to sort of just share some of the ways that I managed to move past those fears to get to where I am today, and hopefully you can use these too. So way number one that I used, and this was the first thing that made a really big shift, I think, for me, was tapping into my calling. So I know that might seem a little bit strange to start with that one, because it's not necessarily about fear, but here's the thing, right? When I stopped looking at, you know, the things that other people are doing online, and stopped thinking that I needed to be like them, that I had to do the things that they were doing, like some of these fears of being visible just like literally changed overnight. It was strange. But I realised that I wasn't being myself before. Like all of the plans I had, all of the things that I thought I needed to do business, like none of it was me acting from a place of like real passion. So there was no motivation behind what I was doing to help me actually shift the fear and move forward. And when I started to ask myself, like, what do I feel called to do today? Like, what do I feel called to share today? It comes from a completely different energetic place, and I like to work with energy. And I then felt that I could share that message because it was important to me. So instead of feeling, oh my God, this is something I have to do a live stream, or I have to do this, I need to share something because, oh God, I need to market my business, I had a total different energy about it. It was more in line with who I am, which I managed to get out there. So now it's like, well, whatever program I'm releasing, whatever I'm sort of selling at the moment, is because I feel called to do it, not because I think that it's something that I need to do to make me money. So that was one of the first big things that I did to make this shift. The second big thing that I did was I started to trust that I have something to contribute and something to say. So part of my fear about being visible was, you know, linked to thinking that I didn't have anything to offer, that like it didn't really matter what I had to say on the subject. I was worried, excuse me, I was worried that I'd be found out. Like, you know, someone might find out I didn't know enough about the subject that I was talking about, or, you know, I might not be the type of person that they wanted to work with or associate with once they sort of found out more about me and the type of person that I am, that they might not like me actually. That's interesting as well. And that all comes from a place of pretty deep insecurity and a lack of self-worth. And I had to do a lot of inner work to clear all of that out and clear those fears. But I also affirmed to myself every day, like, there is something that only I can contribute, because of who I am, because of the things that have happened to me in my life and how I've dealt with these. Like, I have a really unique perspective on something that you don't have yet, because it's my job to share that with you, because I'm the only person that can. I know about these things. So, like, and I know from personal experience that someone that has no experience of going through a certain thing sometimes doesn't really get why you can't do it. So I started trusting myself. I started trusting, look, I've got something to say and I trust what I have to say. And when I'm being like authentically me, there's no way that someone can judge me as not knowing enough, because there's no one that knows more about how to be me than me. Makes sense, doesn't it? If I share things about myself, about my experiences, about my life, like, no one can call me out on that. No one can find me out, so to speak, because I'm the expert on me and you're the expert on you. So when you start like really being yourself, whether it's online or whether it's face to face, it will massively help with your fears of visibility. It will massively help. And then here's the third thing that I wanted to share today. Do only what feels good. Now, being successful as an entrepreneur only really works when you're doing things that make you feel good. Because let's be honest, why should we spend our life doing stuff that makes us feel bad? It doesn't make sense. Now, it's one thing to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and stretch yourself. I know exactly what that feels like. But when the thing that you want to do is so scary that you're paralysed with fear, and that's how I felt, then you're way off track. And I didn't realise that at the time. It took me a while to figure that out. So if you're so scared of doing something, of putting something out there, whether making a video, going on Facebook Live, anyone seeing you, then you're probably off track. It's actually not meant to feel that bad. It's not meant to feel that scary. Like, it really took me ages to figure that out. But when I made that shift, it really helped me to stop worrying so much about, what people were thinking of me and about, what they might say about me. Like, I just focused on my message, and it was authentically me, who I am. This is my life, this is what I do, and I make no apologies for that. So I decide how I want to share, I decide what I want to share, I decide how I want to work with others, and I decide how I want to run my business. And that changed everything. So if it doesn't feel good charging high-end prices, and it causes you to just hide because you don't want to be seen doing that, then don't charge high-end prices. I don't. Stop listening to everyone else. Seriously, start listening to yourself and act on the intuition. If it feels good, it's as simple as that. Don't spend your time doing things that you're afraid to do. It's not meant to be that way. Pushing yourself slightly out of your comfort zone is not meant to feel that bad. Just do the stuff that makes you feel good instead. So for me, if networking isn't your thing, then don't do it. You won't catch me at another networking event ever again. If posting in Facebook groups isn't your thing, then don't do it. Find out what is and do that. And those are sort of the top 3 things that all got me over my sort of fear of being visible. And I had a really extreme fear of being visible. Now, there is something else that I can do for you, and if this is something that you are interested in, something that you've experienced and you've just been in that stuck place, been in that place of being paralysed and having all this fear, then we can work together one-on-one on a session which I call Tapping Yourself Visible. And it's just a one-off session where you can go through your biggest fear of being visible, and we can work on that. We can work on that at a deep level, and we can get to the bottom of why it's holding you back and come up with a strategy on how you're going to move past that. And if that's something that you're interested in, then pop over to sandybowie.com onto the coaching page, and you can book a one-to-one session with me on that. So listen, I hope that's been useful for you. Let me know in the comments below if you have anything to say at all. Message me on Facebook, and like I say, if you want to book a session, book over to sandybowie.com and go onto the coaching page, because you don't have to live with this anymore. You can get past it, and you can get past it quicker than you actually probably think is possible. So until next time, bye for now.